Welcome, fellow armchair generals and empire building enthusiasts. This is Gamer 1745 here with my continuing playthrough of Imperator Rome 2.0, the Marius update, with all of the DLCs. I started this series as part of the live stream on release day, and so after playing just a little bit, but now I've played much further into it and have come back to this save, and I'm sure things are going to work out a lot differently than my last sort of playthrough from this point. But I've learned a lot, a lot of nuances to the game. I'm sure there's a lot more I still have to learn on that topic. Before we get into this, if you've see some tips, whatever, post them below. But also, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, like the video as well. Gotta say that. Right, so we're going to build our empire. We're limited to the number of client states that we can have. Sort of like these guys, but I want to keep clicking start integration here. Okay, they're at 128. They need to be at least 90. So we want to improve their opinion of us so that we can integrate them in. Now, in my belief for empires, it is best not to, I get the idea of the challenge of painting the map your color, but I think it's best to have client states because they really help with the trade, and that will help you in the long run to have various types of client states. So yeah, that would be good. So having everything unified is not the best. Now, well, let's look over here, mentioning sort of grade. We want to come to government. No, your administration provinces. Let's look for provinces that, like this one, Memphis, which is down here. I believe this is, no, there we go. See, I know everything. Okay, now, for provincial loyalty, that is one of the things, and we will be looking at it, is getting and maintaining provincial loyalty. As you expand more, as you expand rapidly, provincial loyalty will be a problem at times. So you want to try to maintain that. That can be difficult. Now, it's really the nobles and sort of the citizens that mostly determine that. So you want to keep them happy. We can look here, well, that one particular province. Let's go to, now it's not going to matter so much here because the ruler is there, so it's probably not going to be bad. We can see here, you know, but these guys are really sort of not happy. Now, there's multiple ways to make them happy. One is to build the buildings. And although they don't really matter so much, I'm sure they might matter a little bit. I don't think they matter much at all, though. But the happier you are, the better they work, the more more productive they work. So I like getting these guys olives when I can. So we want to have good relations with the Seleucids. So we'll see about trading with them. I think just click in the right spot. That is it for our open. I know we can automate all this stuff, but I don't want to. Now here, this is a good thing here because we can see all of those with the red bars, which is not good, which is going to come and bite us in the ass soon. So we're going to eventually want to change much, if not all of these. They will cost us political power to do so. We're not going to do them all at once. They also will increase tyranny. Okay, you're coming out to sea. Now we can declare war on these guys currently. We're going to wait until we get our ships there with our troops ready to invade. Now we can look and see here. We have a lot of heavy infantry, so they're sort of our reserve. We have almost as much light, so they're out in front. We have horse archers on the side specifically. I'm not quite sure how they're going to use the elephants and the heavy cavalry in this lineup here. Now, we probably could or should have some siege engineers. They're currently at war with these guys over here. It could be a good thing, could be a bad thing, especially if we are competing for victory or conquests here. Who owns what province? Who gets to get what? Because I'd like to get all of this. Okay, another thing I want to also look at here early on in this is characters. We want to go to show families. Okay, the Langurids. I know I've talked quite a bit about them. We have here, Philadelphus, Ptolemaic Philadelphus, is the actual one who succeeds Ptolemaeus the First Soter. Now and if we let's look at government here, he is the main heir. Well, what happened, he dies first ultimately, but what happens is he goes off and rules for a while in Macedonia. Sort of kind of want to kill him off, and well, I don't know, how bad are the stats here? 6, 9, that's for rulership, the one I'm most worried about. So all of them do count. And now he's still young, so we can't really see, and I don't know how much his stats, but we can already see his stats are going to be better. I might kill a few people off. But until we get there, let's see, I want to look at some of these guys here. He's married to her, who is just and guileless. Okay. Okay, all the rest are Ptolemaic women. Got lots of women. So nobody else to really worry about here now. We just want to check it. I really wish there was a better alert thing to make sure that my main sort of family that I want to guide through marriage, that I would know when there's needing to get people to get married. I have the thing for the ruler. Okay. They're already sieging there, so we're going to go and siege. Or we need to do war first, of course. Like I said, wait to get... I don't think it does that. We want to take there. Yes. So you start your siege. Yeah, I guess we will up the fleet maintenance since we're sitting off the coast. Byblos, yeah, we'll let Byblos have some dates. And our Fundry here, I believe they're Fundry, whatever they are. Coast. I don't know how much what they'll take. I say I want to get as much of this as possible. Hopefully I'm the main leader here in this siege, so I'll get this territory. Yes, Judea wants some Iris. I hate how pop-ups show up right here. Okay, now the 121st Olympiad. Okay, he 10-3. I think those are some of the main 9-7. I think finesse and some of these others do come into it. I'm not sure how much. We'll send him Philocles. Sorry, I'm going to butcher a lot of names. If I've heard them, I think I can come to a reasonable pronunciation for, you know, an Anglo speaker. Coming of the city of Oxyrhynchos. Okay, Oxyrhynchos. Now that's down here. Well, okay, we have this city. Yeah, we're going to... Yeah, I think we'll leave that over here. Definitely want to increase trade. But looking here, we have the city, our citizens, freemen. We come here, well, this will make the citizens happier, get more citizens, a little more provincial loyalty, though that isn't much of a concern. Let's go with that to start with. Right. This is their capital we're besieging. Okay. They also own a little bit over in here. Okay. Now, Sidon and Samaria. Samaria is one of our client states, so we'll favor them a little more. Macedonia, yep. Now Macedonia may end up being one of our buffer states off, keep Rome off for a while. Okay, coming to the city of Philotris. Let's see, where's Philotris? Okay, yeah, that's this one out here. Not that we have to build stuff here, but this is pretty weak here. Freemen. Let's encourage more freemen to show up. So we're going to build a forum. My first tendency is normally to put in marketplaces. They give more, well, I used to give some different benefits, but I don't know. And dates, yes. Again, as much trading as we can do. And I try to do it strategically, as you can hear at times. May not be perfectly strategical, but and I also want to keep Carthage as sort of the counterbalance as long as we can to Rome as well. So I do have strategic interests, as opposed to just automating it. Okay, well, better luck next time, but increases our popularity, which we really don't need. We're quite popular as it is. Bulimia. Yes, I guess so. Okay. Fortress. Let's just, I think I know where this is, but let's... Yeah, okay. We don't need a fort there. So... we probably don't really need, I mean, we're still sort of fairly low on troops, but I think that's okay. But a training camp, well, yeah, I guess a training camp would be all right at this time here. A little better use, maybe long-term, more manpower helps with civilization level a little bit. Okay. Now, can I beat them to this? Probably not. I don't know what their Yeah, light infantry horse, but we'll certainly try. Okay, so we didn't lose any, they lost 3, but we didn't gain any. Maybe we beat him. Oh, he's going to try to take the province. Okay, good. Don't know why he wants that particularly one. So he doesn't keep it. I mean, maybe he's just trying to plunder slaves and whatnot off of it. Which is a pain, because I do want it all here, and preferably and nicely intact. I don't know best how to get this at this moment right now. Okay, we don't like these competitors right now. Who is the Anatolian? Okay. Okay, Canopus. Like the Canopus jars? Oh, here. Okay, good. Now here we're part of our capital region. And what we want a lot of in our capital region are import. So we want to definitely throw in a marketplace. Now here to one of you pops. Okay. Alright. I think money would be nice. So our tax office we'll get that going. The marketplace here still watching up there. Yeah, you're coming to march to some war that you're not going to get to. Good for trying, but not doing enough of this yet. I'm just going to grind these guys into dust. Five. Okay. We'll trade with roads. No, decline offer. We'll trade with Biblos. I guess they're not taking prisoners or killing population. Phrygia, yeah, first. I need furs in Phrygia. Well, they did have an army that marched away, these guys. Maybe it went over here. I've had. Oh, okay, going back and forth here still. So they're maintaining that province, don't know. That's from the Galilee. Okay, well, I don't know. They're their provincial capital. I thought I would get better control. I don't take away my possession there. Uh-oh, Ptolemy falls ill with dysentery. So now let's come here, back here, and seek treatment now. Hopefully he's a good doctor. Let's look at some of our other family members here. He has dysentery, so we are going to also, and he's reasonably good skilled, so we're going to seek treatment. Sometimes I want to get rid of some of these people, so yeah, you know, it's sort of like, you're sick. Oh, too bad. Now this is not a quick tutorial or a how to blunder through this fast, so we're gonna be checking some of these things here. He has Antagra. Seek treatment. Oh, she's off in another place. Okay. So we can't help her. We're using our navy to get around her. Okay, dates from Galilee. Yeah, we'll help our tributary first. Oh, well, then we also help Athens. Nice to have relations. Oh, we got a lot of dates in there, I guess. They all wanted dates. Good for them. Line from the Galilee. Very good. Okay. Well, we're having barbarians come here. Now, oh. Well, let's send these guys to here next. Okay, 8,000. So that's fairly big. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over here to levies, and we're going to raise levies. Now, you can't unraise levies while you're at war, so that's going to sort of hurt us until this peace comes. But I think not having some barbarians of 8,000 numbers crushing our cities and things is a good idea. Yes, they've already done some of that. We're going to continue to march down there. The Giza Pyramid attracts travelers, yes. Okay, so we can go +5 on stability, local population happiness down 15%. That doesn't matter a whole lot, it matters a bit. Lose 5 stability, gain some money, gets popularity. Yes, that's a lot of instability from travelers. There must be money gained from exposure. This wonder is meant for people to come here. We get a tyranny. but get 500 people if we needed for that. I think we're going to go with the stability. Okay, that handled us all the best I can see. And these guys, yeah, they can march across there. Earthenware cloth. Yes. Okay, so he's defeated the barbarians. Very good. Now, like I say, I can't, dismiss them now. Okay, cited. Yes, you can have some spices. Okay, so he's taken those territories. We're going to take, which I'm sort of pissed at, but we're just more reason to go to war with him. So we're going to come here and sue for peace. Now I'm going to cancel this, and I'm going to save. I have misclicked enough on peace terms evidently and got bad results. So I've gotten the habit with a lot of these paradox games on peace to I think we want to reduce that aggressive expansion, so we'll let that fade. Okay, so we've got some territories here. Now these guys here, people we were competitive with. Now I think we can declare war and take this. Yes, we'll be at war only with roads, nobody else, and I'm not that worried about roads. We have not too much aggressive expansion, and there's their main army, I believe, there. So we're going to see about crushing their main army and then crushing them. So let's do this thing. Dynastic desperation. Reached their ears that Ptolemaic Coranos in child. Okay, yes. If we do this, he'll lose 20 loyalty. Carefully move him out of the path. You lose 10. We use up 10 of our influence. We have political influence enough to do this. No, he is not irksome. He is useful. Possibly one of our rulers. Maybe a good one. He was a reasonably good one, I think, in history. Let me read a little more about this time period. Okay. Alright, well. Where are you going? No, you're coming back. Well. Can you get by your fort? I guess you can. Coming to the city of Apollonius Megale. Okay. Down. Oh. Down here. Okay, now. Look at our Western Delta. No, here. Down here. No. Here. Okay, so every city in Aswan, which I think is where this is located. Aswan, yes. We're definitely looking ahead. Needs to have a marketplace and a tax office. So you know what we want to do? We want to put a marketplace and a tax office down here. And we have the money, so we'll just order these up. Get them out of the way. Well, we can. Coptos. Where's Coptos? Oh, Coptos is just up here. Right, okay. And Coptos, every city in Luxor. This is not Luxor. This is Luxor. Also need some things, but marketplace. Okay, I think this is just that it exists here is good enough as a city. We have some tribesmen. I really have very little use for tribesmen. I mean, there may be more usefulness than I think, but I'm gonna just not really care. Freemen, okay. Freemen are sort of useful. Wish these would do us more than just population capacity. They should do civilization and migration traffic. I would much rather live in a city with plumbing than a city without it. Okay. I think we're maybe getting near to the end of this episode. Let's go to something gross. Do you like grossness? I don't particularly, but sometimes it's sort of kind of needed. And I don't see this in ancient world clothing. So this must not have been a thing then. But clothing has lots of uses. And if you want to, because after this little story, we're going to end the episode. If you want to stay away from the grossness, you hit that like button and split out now. Hats were definitely worn in the ancient world, but they weren't quite as like everybody wears a hat as it really gets almost up, at least men, but even women, up to like sort of World War II. Almost all Western men wore hats, almost always when going outside. Now, there's a reason for this, and the reason has long since been lost, even there, but it really wasn't that big of a thing in the ancient world. Oh, they had hats, they had headgear, but from what I know of, and we just may be missing it, the Romans did sort of have a broad-brimmed sun hat kind of thing, keep the sun off of them, because hey, it was warmer back then than it is now. Global warming might get us back to the temperatures during the Roman Empire, but it's another thing. But starting somewhere around I would say the 16th century, maybe a bit earlier, but around 16th century, around the 1500s, particularly for people living in cities, a broad-brimmed hat, sort of round thing in the center, broad brimmed around it, was the sort of standard. Now, you see, whether you're Americans or not, a lot of people think pirate hat or whatever. But if you look at the time, well before, but in the 18th century, you start getting what they call the tricorner hat. And eventually it ends up in the sort of Napoleonic for the military with a bicorn, just two corners. And it is a tricornered hat, yes, but it's really not. And that it's a big round hat. It's broad brimmed. Why did they have broad brimmed hats so much, you may ask a gamer? Keep the sun off? Maybe. Now remember, this is 17th century, so we're entering a cold period. This is not like the Middle Age warm period, which we're getting back to, or the Classical era warm period. The Dark Ages is a cold period, and the Renaissance is a starting of a cold mini ice age. Again, not saying global warming isn't happening. I'm just saying man isn't, at least the primary. Now, maybe warming in a particular area. I've seen the environment change around LA, It's affected by the amounts of smog. Yes, ban affects the environment globally. Not so much. Okay. We know that there's changes in this. I don't know the reason for all the changes, but it's not man. Could be volcanoes, could be other things. But okay. So why were broad-brimmed hats for city dwellers? Sun, not so much. As a fact and statement. Rain? Rain might be a reasonable and partially likely reason for the broad-brimmed hats. Again, we're coming up to the gross part here. Now, there's different names for it, different names for things over time, and sometimes it's lost. But what in Britain they call, in England they call it mostly the WC, or water closet, which is a type of toilet. It's a flushing toilet. Well, in Scotland, where I have lived briefly, they call it the loo. Why do they call it the loo? Well, it's a corruption of French. Especially during some of the periods, Scotland had a lot of association with French as sort of their cultural viewpoint, and so French terms and whatever were cool. People knew it. And I'm probably going to butcher this to some degree, but it's garde des loo. And it's sort of, you can see in like castle terms, the garde robe, which is the toilet. I'm not exactly sure that the derivation entirely there for it, but in sort of Norman terms. But garde des loo, lookout below. Why is your toilet called the lookout below? You may ask. Because, particularly in Scotland, well, they didn't have plumbing, didn't even sort of, no, I'm not saying the elites didn't have a concept of plumbing, but they just didn't have really any plumbing anywhere. Anything that we would consider plumbing. Now, so what did they do with the shit and the piss? In the morning, particularly, from the chamber pots that you shit and piss into. You threw it out the window, or poured it out the window. And so they would look out the window, if they were sort of kind, see that there's not too many people below it. And Edinburgh, this is where the term comes from, but this isn't just happening in Edinburgh, but Edinburgh's up here, more right here. It's a very compact city with, even at this time, 6-8-story high buildings as common apartments, walk-ups, people living on the different floors. And so, but this is happening in other cities, not so dramatically, mostly not so dramatically tightly packed, but so they'd look out below and throw the contents of the chamber pot out. Well, you would probably want to have a rather wide hat to sort of keep it somewhat off of you if you get the stuff dropped on you. So yeah, and that's also why cloaks were fairly common. You'd rather have it on your hat than in your hair or on your face. So yeah, I would much rather live in a city with the idea of water management aqueducts well predate any significant Roman aqueducts. They're rather old Greek aqueducts, and I forget where that one of them was, cut through a mountain, and they came through, a decent sized mountain, and they came from both sides, and you can see where they sort of met, and they were, a few inches off of, alignment between the two, but just barely. And so, they were able to, in just 10 years, they cut through this, or whatever it was, 20 years, 10 years, I don't know. They cut this aqueduct through. So there was aqueducts for Greek cities. I'm not going to necessarily say before the founding of Rome, because I don't quite know all the dates, but proper aqueducts of water flowing in. the Romans just moved it onto steroids with the Roman arch that we see in here. That's really brings it to another level. So Rome just puts it, aqueduct, not just to 11, but to 12. They turned it up to 12. So yeah, Rome is sort of becomes the water engineers par excellence in the arches and whatnot, but aqueducts pre-exist. So for me, if I was picking a city to live in, and one you have flowing water in, then presumably you have some level of flowing water out, I would want to live there over a otherwise city without flowing water. For all that I may love in other periods of history, I think the biggest thing is the lack of flowing water, and secondarily the lack of electricity and the things like computers, but air conditionings and refrigerators and microwave ovens and whatnot that all happens because of electricity. And I grew up in an age before, computers existed, but before we played on them, so I could easily live without computers. But yeah, without electricity and without flowing water in a city-type environment would not be good. So I would have this in this game. Yeah, population capacity, that's an important one, but when you look here, whether civilization levels or migration or whatever type levels like we see here, migration attraction, just having an aqueduct level 1, that's to me a super migration attraction. Big time. I think they missed out by changing that. Thank you all who got there this far into it. I really do appreciate all of my viewers so much. And see you next time for more, yes, even more historical gaming.